Hello and welcome back. It's Paul here from NeuralAdX Ltd. I'm just going to take you through how to optimize your website for Google AI mode. And I'm going to do so by running through the page that I have curated in great detail for you on my website. So if we turn our attention to the screen, we can see at the first section here, Google AI mode search optimization. I researched and found out that 90.06% of the search engine market share from October 2024 to October 2025 is with Google, and obviously now Google AI mode. So that's how a lot of people are turning over their searches now via using that chatbot that Google's created. So a huge amount of the market share is there. So for business owners, you certainly want to have your company coming up as the AI cited answer in Google AI mode. So as I say, that statistic is backed up by the citation I've got there highlighted of StatCounter, which is a very reliable resource. Okay. So moving down to the first H2 titled section that I created, and that is what are the top 5 platforms Google AI mode actually cites right now in October 2025. So obviously I've curated this list because the top 5 platforms, it then points to you to be able to make sure that your content is placed within them. So it greatly enhances your chances of actually being cited by Google AI mode and then getting in front of 90% of the market share, which I'm sure you want to do. So the results of those 5 platforms were LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, Google.com, and Google Blog. So I then come out with quick actionable ideas for you to benefit from this intel. So for example, with LinkedIn, you can post your best company promotions on LinkedIn. With YouTube, you can increase your content amount and quality on YouTube. With regards to Reddit, you can respond quickly on Reddit to new questions in your niche and obviously propose questions that your clients might want answered. You can also go on google.com and update your best website content with fresh updates. In regards to appearing on Google Blog, you can share one of their posts related to your industry, comment on it, and link back to your website just so you have some connection to the Google Blog in the eyes of AI engines. Now, the next H2 title that I created was what are the top 5 content types Google AI mode currently cites in October 2025. So obviously we know multimodal content is now very important with AI engines, and here's the top 5 versions of content. So comprehensive, authoritative knowledge basis. So well-structured, neutral, and in-depth information tends to be cited frequently from Google AI mode. So again, it's feeding into the experience, expertise, authority, and trust factor, which we all know is the core foundations of old school sort of SEO. We can call it now that, traditional SEO, but it still feeds into that being necessary for AI generative engine citations, because you do need that structure to be able to get your website indexed with Google to start with, and AI engines appreciate it as well. So that's a core element that should always be addressed. Number 2 is video content and tutorials. YouTube is consistently getting more and more popular as a resource of AI engines getting their information. So putting your content on there is always a good idea, and it's exponentially growing, as we all know. Number 3 is community-driven Q&As and discussions. So that's putting content on Reddit and Quora and providing authentic real-world experiences, because again, that is what AI is looking for, and they're looking for real factual proof and evidence of your organization functioning in the real world. Again, number 4 being structured backed content, so pages using clear headings, bullet points, list tables, schema markup, all the factors essentially that are encompassed in generative engine optimization. So the core, what I call 11 factors, that's what we work with. But from the actual study itself, there was 9 factors, the Princeton study, but we've kind of enhanced 2 of them. But that's what this structured data backed content is pointing to. And then the 5th one is official documentation and expert reviews. So that's always pointing towards when you are referencing information, it is always best to use institutions like government agencies or academic origins in regards to information that you're conveying, because they are the gold standard in the perception of AI generative engines. Okay. So the next question that I propose that's pertinent in the topic of Google AI mode optimization is, how should your content be designed for Google AI mode to get cited? So basically what I'm saying here is, how should you actually structure your website page to make sure that it's optimal for Google AI mode? So as we scroll down in the first paragraph, I'm just essentially highlighting there, if you're via the bright orange, you must have schema markup. That has to be hammered home, because that is the best form of structured data that AI engines love to refer to. And also it provides them with more detail than just standard website parsing that they do if you didn't have the schema markup. So you're going to give them a more in-depth explanation about your company and items on your website. So therefore it's more likely that you'll get cited, and more comprehensive information will be conveyed to your potential customers if you provide a schema markup. So I emphasize that there heavily. Okay. Now, from my deductions and analysis, and in correlation with the GEO study and with what Google has stipulated the Google AI mode prefers in terms of structure, I've composed the 16 critical page elements for Google AI mode citation. Okay, so all these 16 here, I'm not going to go into them just now because I'm going to scroll further down, but you can see all 16 here listed. Now, what I have done to make it very, very easy, because I find that I haven't seen any other company do this, and I thought it would be very helpful for a business owner, is to actually give you a template of these 16 factors and how to actually implement it into your website page. And so I've given examples of each individual element. So as you can see here, when we scroll down, here is my example for you. So the element 1 would be the H1 title. So again, this comes into the structuring that is required for AI generative engines, that you've got to have the correct H1, H2, H3 structured titles, etc. Obviously, because it's being the start of your page in this example, the H1's at the very top, because that's where the H1 always is. Then further down in element 2, you'll have the meta line. So that's just essentially providing freshness and transparency to the engine. And you can see above here, the information that's required for that is demonstrated for you. Then you've got the element 3, which is the TLDR box. So too long didn't read. It's just a brief oversight of what the page contains, so somebody can grasp it to help them out looking on your website if they're a rush. AI engines like to see this, just one of their criterias. The next one, element 4, is a table of contents. So the table of contents essentially lists the contents of your page, but it gives the person the option to click a specific section of your page, and then it will take your screen down to that. So it's just providing efficiency for the user on your website. And so again, AI engines like that. So the next element, I put it as an introduction. So obviously after you've had the above 4 elements implemented, you just want to have a brief introduction to explain what your page is covering. So that's my example there for you. Then element 6, you want to have an authoritative citation. So you want to place at least one top tier citation directly under your claim. This is grounding AI can trust. So essentially it's citations. So where in element 6, you're making a particular claim, you just want to make sure that that claim does have an in-text citation that is hyperlinked to the original source, just so then it can be classed as grounded content. So the AI engines can be secure that what you're saying isn't just from your opinion, but it's based on educated fact from a trustworthy source. Okay. So if we move into element 7, which is just to use visual aids and infographics. So you can use charts with descriptive text. Now, it's very, very important to make sure that your alt text is extremely descriptive, because AI engines interpret information primarily from the text. So it's paramount that you go into great detail there and cover the alt text section thoroughly, because then that will help you get better results with AI generative engines. So that's element 7. So then element 8, you want to use 3 to 5 statistics max. Put each in its own bullet points so AI can live cleanly. Again, this is coming back into generative engine optimization. So it would be classed as easy to understand content. So as you can see in that example, I've just done 3 bullet points and just explaining particular points that I want to convey in that format, which AI engines like, because it's easy for them to lift and pass as an answer to a user in relation to their query, whatever that may have been, obviously relating to your particular subject area. Then element 9, you want to have a numbered framework. So step-based formats are AI's easiest extraction target. So a step-by-step framework to become citable is concluded in these sort of 8 elements, which is answer the query first. So you want to put the answer immediately, as soon as possible in the first 1 or 2 sentences, because again, that's AI's preferences. You want to prove it. That's again using citations, quotations and data right after your claim. Again, that's feeding into generative engine optimization. You want a structure for extraction. Again, use lists, tables, and clear headings. That's easy to understand again, as always. And clarify entities. So define terms and use consistent naming. So that's like name, address, and phone number on your website as well, to make sure that that is consistent across all platforms. That's one factor of clarifying entities. Maintain recency. So that's just like at the top where you see I'd put the date. You want to make sure that your date is always put on there, and an updated date of when you last made amendments to the page. It's all showing AI mode that you're on top of your game, and that's what they're looking for, because then it gives them confidence that the brand that they're citing, aka yourself, is somebody that is dedicated to the specialist field that they're in. It's just another little tributary factor that gives them confidence about you. So you want to employ that as well. And then you need to expand with FAQs. Again, AI engines love FAQs because they provide direct answers to users' queries. You want to connect knowledge, so link to relevant internal resources. So that's internally on your website. If you have other information relative to a topic that you're discussing on the page, it's always good to link to that to create a web inside your website. That's looked on favorably by AI engines because it shows a level of expertise and professionalism. Then you want to validate technically by using schema and clean navigation. So again, with schema markup, as pointed out earlier, that's something that's crucial for AI engines. And clean navigation is just making sure that you've got a menu that's easily to operate for the users on your website. Okay. Then element 10 on your page, if possible to have, you want to have a comparison table. So whatever it is that you're particularly covering on your page, AI engines love comparison because they're looking for honesty and truth. And so they're trying to find the best answer. So the more you compare and the more detailed you compare, the more they can determine that you're a legitimate source that's trying to provide correct information. And that gives them trust. And then they're much more likely to cite you. So that's another very beneficial element to add into the structure of your website page. Then element 11, this is absolutely paramount in my personal opinion and from experience and A/B testing, and that is case study. So whatever product or service you are potentially selling on your website, you want to actually show evidence via case study. So if you have live screen recordings, like I do, for example, on my website to prove our generative engine optimization success, also having screenshots, those two main factors are absolutely huge to convince the AI engines that you are a legitimate, authentic company. And then that way they will trust you enough to cite you. And plus it helps with customers as well, because they can see that you're being transparent and you are delivering results in the area of your expertise that you are alleging you can. Okay, so that's element number 11. Then element 12, you want to cover checklists that the person can use today in relation to the information that you have. So, you can rewrite your H1 to match user's exact question. You can add visible publish plus updates, insert a TLDR box with 5 to 6 raw facts, use an anchor linked table of contents, place one authoritative citation near the top, add a chart infographic with concept focused alt text, include 3 to 5 support and stats, structure your method as numbered steps, add one comparison table, and close with FAQs, glossary, and bibliography. So this is just an overall kind of grasp of the key elements that you need to keep in mind. So it's an actionable checklist that I'm obviously giving to you in regards to what I'm explaining here today, but you can obviously apply that to the particular relevancy of the page that you're composing on your website. Then the element 13 is recency and update commitment. So again, with that, that's making sure that you are putting down the actual dates that the content was published and making sure that on a regular basis you are updating that. So you could put a commitment on the page to say updated monthly. And indeed, with that being said, make sure that it is done, because AI engines will notice that. They're very on the ball. Then element 14, which touched on earlier a little bit, is to make sure that you have an FAQ section. And for that, you want to try and be as thorough as possible. And I would say anywhere between sort of 6 and 10 proposed questions per website page, just to make sure you maximize your chances of being cited in AI engines. So that's element 14. And then a glossary as well, to list out the potential terminologies you've used that may not be automatically comprehended by your audience. So you're making it easy to understand for them again, which AI engines recognize and appreciate, and it increases your value in their eyes for doing so. It's a sign of professionalism. Contributing to that is element 16, which is that with any of the statements that you've made or claims that you've made, make sure it is always fully backed up with sources and bibliography. And so do that by either in-text citations or just placing it at the bottom of your website. Either way, just ensuring that the referenceable content of what you're stipulating to back it up is present on the website for AI engines to verify. Okay, so the next titled section I calculated that was important for you, putting myself in your position, of course, is how can I ensure my content has the structured data Google AI mode craves? Okay, so now this is where I went into an incredible deep technical dive. So a lot of this is very complicated. This would only be for the most technical of people. But I did put it on here and put the effort into creating that for such characters, just to be completely comprehensive and thorough, to make sure that my page advocating how to optimize for Google AI mode was as technically in depth as possible for said type users. So if you see when I scroll down now, there's lots and lots of steps to follow that I'm not going to go into here because it's so complicated, but it is there if you've got the time to run through it and to try and deeply comprehend it. Okay, so let me scroll down to the next section. So this is another very interesting question that I think is to be covered for people wanting to optimize their website for Google AI mode is, do I still need to rank in the top 10 organic search results to appear in Google AI mode citations? Now, the wonderful answer to this is no. You absolutely don't need to rank in the top 10 organic Google search results to be cited by Google AI mode. So the systems work completely different, the old top 10 ranking system and the way AI generative engines create answers. So it's very refreshing. As long as your content is fully generative engine optimized, you have as much likelihood of getting cited as an established company that may have been serving in an industry for 5 or even 10 years. So this again all kind of points to just how valuable generative engine optimization is. But unfortunately, at this point in time, being sort of mid-December 2025, most of the population isn't privy to this information. But over the next year or so, it will become evident because of people like me showcasing my results and managing to push companies that are very sort of small and unknown to getting very high amount of citations and success. And so that will be proven via that, even though we have proven it via our own website and continue to do so if you look at our proof page on our NeuralAdX.com website. And I'm also going to add our citation results in AI citation tracking using Otterly AI, where I'm currently, I think, getting 3 times the amount of citations of every single one of my competitors. And when you think that we opened the company in March 9th, 2025, and I hadn't even built the website there. So literally, really, it took about 3 months to get a decent amount of content on there. So we could only really say that the GEO started working after that point. So to get it to where we are today, where we're getting cited regularly in AI platforms, it goes to show with regular intense generative engine optimization, you can get your website being cited above a lot more experienced companies. So very exciting for new companies, of course. And the same applies to existing companies. If they boost their GEO, then they will be more dominant overall because they've got already sort of, granddad rights, if you will, on the internet in a sense that the systems are so much more familiar with them and the trust issue and everything is already established. So it works for everyone, but in particular, new websites. So that's one point to highlight. So another question that I think is pertinent that I covered was, how much does EEAT increase the likelihood of my content being cited by Google AI mode? Well, as kind of spoken earlier, it's absolutely massive because EEAT, which is experience, expertise, authority, and trust, these are the main elements that are telling the AI engines that you are authentic, trustworthy, results proven company that a potential user can trust. And so once you can convey that to Google and then translating over into the AI generative engines, then they will happily cite you all day long. But part of the task is conveying that to them via multiple facets that I've touched on earlier. So that's still a very important factor. So the next question proposed is, how can I get Google AI mode to serve my links in answers to stop 0 clicks? Or once again, encompassing the EEAT that I just touched on earlier as a key factor. And there's an additional 6 that I think are most potent from my experience that I convey here via this infographic, which is structured content, verifiable facts, original insight, schema markup, author organization, identity, and recency signals. So, excuse me, human factor coming in. So as long as those 7 are applied, that will dramatically help you, if not prevent you from having the 0 click scenario impinge on your business. The next question I covered on the page was, how can I test if my content is being cited by Google AI mode? So quite simply with that, you can run prompt helps yourself and your family on multiple devices using AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Grok 4, Google AI mode, of course, which is the pertinent one for this video, but all of them nonetheless, I'm sure you want to show up in, so you can actually see if the work that you've employed by following the structure I've advocated is working on those platforms, but obviously especially in regards to Google AI mode. In addition to that, you can implement citation tracking software like we do with our clients, like Ottilie AI, which is very effective. And I'm currently trialing another one at the moment, Passion Fruit, to see how effective that is, just so I can have multiple AI citation tracking softwares that can bolster and confirm the results that I'm getting, because that just breeds more EEAT for Google and AI engines if I can demonstrate that to them, as indeed I am in the process of doing, because I have an AI citation benchmark page on my website, which I'm working on. And so once I get the results, I will upload that on the website. So then the AI engines will have that intel to know that I am indeed the expert that I proclaim to be via the results, not just by marketing rhetoric, if you will. Okay, so the next question I thought that was pertinent and helpful on this page was new Google AI mode updates in December 2025 for you to keep in mind. So here was just some information for you to consider, just to keep right on the pulse of what is happening in relation specifically to Google AI mode, which of course this page is covering. And it's just telling you that Gemini 3 Pro model became available in AI mode. So it's enhanced its intelligence effectively. And it also makes you realize that it would be good as well to optimize your website to a degree for Gemini 3 as well. Now we have a website page on the site explaining how to optimize your website for Gemini 3 Pro, but it's not dramatically different. It's very, very close to Google AI mode, if not almost identical, because obviously they're the same entities, but there's slight discrepancies that you can obviously make sure that you're covering to give you the optimal chance of being cited in those platforms. Okay. So yes, I think that has comprehensively covered everything for you. If you want to visit the page, as I said, it's on www.NeuralAdX.com, my website there, where it covers AI search optimization for Google AI mode, the page we've just gone through, and it covers all other AI engines, and it also gives you a tutorial of how to actually implement the 7 core elements of generative engine optimization on your website. So tons of helpful information there if you would like to utilize that. All right, I think that's all from me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.